Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Isaac. How about that? 22 runs in a row, always nice. A palindromic win number with the D4 immediately. How about that? XYMB RCWT. That's my new thing. I'm just the guy who goes, how about that? Without actually drawing any conclusions himself. Start saying things like, does anybody else see what I see? But not actually specify what I see at all. I'm gonna re-roll. And I slightly prefer this, but I wanted to reroll because the apple is good enough. Like, I'm not saying we're never going to use the D4 again, but the apple is good enough to be a building block of an actual, like, end game run. You know, we could use that as, I mean, it's one of the bricks. It's some of the mortar. You know, it's not the foundation, but it's involved in the construction process. I would certainly say. So I think, you know, we've been playing decent Isaac lately. I wouldn't dispute that. I would also say that we gotten a little lucky in some of our Isaac play. I don't think we've necessarily been doing as best as, or as well as is conceivable, but I think we've been doing, there's a unique irony in that right there. We shot like 12 poops and the 12th one had petrified poop. Hey! Okay, everybody chill out, alright? We gotta figure out who did this. And then it's me in a hot dog costume. You know what I'm talking about. By the way, I offered all of you I'm not saying I was the first person to get into I Think You Should Leave, okay? But via my references to it and the community, I offered everybody an onboarding procedure. If you wanted to be in on the jokes and the discourse and so on and so forth, and many people said, yes, I'll hop on. A lot of people, though, said, I don't get it. I don't think this show's going anywhere. Now, you know, sitting American congresswomen are referencing it, and, like, it's becoming like a thing. It's having a moment, and boy, I bet you feel silly, because you had a chance. You had a chance to be there on the ground floor, and you opted not to. How sad for you. Okay, we're gonna leave before we make any more enemies. I love the D4, but we are not going to reroll into something as good as what we already have for quite some time. It would be smart for us to just chill out. If we lose our bone heart, we might consider it. But for the time being, we're just gonna chill, man. We're just gonna chill. Nothing to worry about. We're looking for a red heart, obviously. We're looking for as much HP as is possible, obviously, but our rate of fire is already so good that, like, I just don't want to press the space bar and, you know, lose access to this incredible situation we got, because, you know, even when I dream of you, the sweetest dreams do. But I don't miss you, baby, and I do want to miss a thing. You know, that's the Mouth, I forget what was the new Mouth album called? In my defense, it was kind of a blur, because it came out like the day that we had our, you know, daughter, but, you come to me on the day of my daughter's birth, and you give me a mashup album. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Mouth Dreams? I think it's Mouth Dreams. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, me, for coming up with it. No, not coming up with it, but remembering it. I didn't come up with it. That'd be crazy, right? If I was like, you know that album? I made it. That'd be weird. Does anybody else see what I see? Hey! They didn't take our bone heart, though, because we just got that spirit heart. Kind of just a nasty move, though. Curse of the Unknown is always gonna have you freaking out, though. It's like, you know, if you don't freak out a little bit when you got Curse of the Unknown going on, like, do you even have blood in your veins? Makes you feel like living. I like it. I don't dislike it. We should probably go back to our shop, though. There's a lot of value to derive. I think this is the single biggest predictor for, like, a good and fun run that you're going to enjoy, in my opinion, is your rate of fire. Like, I think if you were drawing, like, mathematical formulas about Isaac, you would say your fun is predominantly a function of your fire rate. Now, there is an exception to that rule. It must be like a cubic function or something, because after a certain point, like soy milk, for example, you'd probably find that trend reversed. Interesting, right? Bro. I think we take it. And now we have just a ridiculous rate of fire. And now I kind of feel comfortable re-rolling. But I have to think about it. Because you know we're going to have our item... No, we just had it. You know we're going to have our boss room and a deal with the devil chance in just a moment here. Most bosses and most deals with the devil... most deals with the devil is kind of hard to tell. We need to have HP. And right now we're presently on, like... Curse of the Unknown will always freak you out in that department, and then we don't even know, like, do we even have any red hearts? Technically, we have a bone heart, but I don't even know how that counts. Regardless, long story short, we may end up using D4 and starting to get to, like, a fun run, a funny run. This run's kind of already there. Like, I wouldn't mind continuing to roll this. I'm just a little bit concerned about our HP, because I don't really know where we stand. The damage there is going to be very nice, though. I don't know, maybe we'll just keep rolling this, man. Like, this is pretty sweet. HP is totally fine. And now that we actually have some damage to go along with this incredible rate of fire, like... I don't know why I started talking in like a bad impression of Chris Walker or whatever. I did say it was bad. I don't have a good Christopher Walken impression. Anyway, so now we can kind of relax a little bit. Even though the run is just chock full of Zane, head to toe. We've mellowed it out a little bit. We know we're not going to reroll because we're already on like a zanier run than we would expect to get. We will reroll this though. We'll take it. I think it can only benefit us. That's really good. Anyway, how am I doing? I'm doing really well, actually. Thank you for asking. We're kind of having like one of those dream baby days where, well, I shouldn't say that because really, like, it's 1:25 p.m. and my wife's been looking after the baby since 10. So, like, the last 3.5 hours have been a dream baby situation for me. I haven't been looking after the baby. She has. Which is I was going to say the best dream of all, but I mean it as a joke. I don't mean it as, like, you know, I love spending time with my daughter as well. Got to get some work done, too, but I love spending time with the baby. And I put in some time this morning, you know, so my wife could sleep a little bit longer. But then she woke up in the middle of the night to handle some stuff, so she did that so I could sleep a little bit longer. It's just like one endless gift of the Magi is what it's like to have a newborn. I did this so you wouldn't have to, but because you did this, I had free time, so I did this for you. Or at least that's, I mean, I think that's like the optimum way for it to go. You don't want it to go like, you know, hey, I did this so you didn't have to, and then you're like, thanks, Toots. You know, that's, would not recommend, personally. I think we're just gonna go. But yeah, the baby slept from like 11 until 8 a.m., which is just awesome. Obviously, like, something you can't rely on happening every single day. So I feel, you know, I've been able to get a little bit of good work done today. Mentally, I feel good. Physically, I feel, you know, as good as I can feel, given the way that I've treated my body over the past, like, 3 months, which is not that bad, but, like, you know, I need to get some exercise in for sure. You know, I haven't been, like, going on a bender or anything like that, but, you know, it's not like one day of great sleep completely reverts you to the state that you were in before. But anyway, I'm having a good day, and yesterday was a good day too. Today is a Wednesday, yesterday was Tuesday, and I was stoked. We've been, I say planning, but it wasn't really like there was a lot of active planning. It was more like, you know, hey, do you want to like get together and do some content together? And I said yeah, and who did I say yeah to? Sips _ of the Yogskust, but also, you know, of his own individual work and labor as well. We you know, it's a pretty big ask. Like, I feel like if you're anxious about like how a situation is gonna go down socially, and somebody says like, hey, do you want to just get together and like we'll stream some fishing for like as long as it feels right? You know, that's kind of, it's a little nerve-wracking in a way, because you're like, we don't even get to talk about the game. Like, what's happening in the game is completely, I actually don't think we want it. What's happening in the game is, like, completely irrelevant, right? It's hard to lean back if you have, like, an awkward silence or something like that. It's hard to lean back and go, like, oh, look at this, I caught a rainbow trout. But we streamed together yesterday, and the VOD probably is up on YouTube by now. And luckily, we didn't have to worry about it at all. Just, like, it was like talking to a slightly older version of myself that no longer lives in Canada. Like, my man was saying all the right things. I don't really care about stories in games. I was like, me too, or me neither. Anyway, it was good. You know, and people seem to really like the content as well. So we'll definitely try to knock out more of that in the future. It would be a pleasure to do so. I think we got a good dynamic. And I got to thank the. Well, obviously I got to thank Sips, but I got to thank the audience as well, because I hit my elbow. Sorry if I woke you up there. It actually didn't hurt at all. I'm wearing a pretty thick sweater. But I got to thank the audience, because and again, it's not a slight on any other creator. I really don't watch a whole lot of Twitch and YouTube. You might think that I would watch more now because of the baby and, like, we got a little bit more downtime. It's not really the case. Like, I actually watch, like, a lot less Twitch and YouTube. And the stuff that I watch isn't really usually in the gaming space because of the fact that I'm already existing in that space, like, professionally. So I might watch other stuff on YouTube, like, you know, I might watch, like, cooking content or something like that, or, you know, lately more, like, investment-style content, which is its own ball of wax, because, like, it's funny, there's only, like, two kinds of investment channels on YouTube. There's very slick people who are obviously just pumping up stocks that they own, and they're like, it's gonna go to $1 million next year, see you at the yacht party. And then they always have, like, really good presentational skills. They're, like, really charismatic, and they've got good equipment. And then there's, like, 55-year-old professional investors who always are on, like, a horrible camera and, like, microphone situation, but actually give you good advice. That's like, hey, instead of buying into, like, these trash companies where, like, half of them are not even going to exist next year, why don't you just, like, pool that money instead and buy, like, you know, some shares of companies that are going to be around for a while, like Adobe. And you're like, but they're doing it through, like, a $10 Logitech USB microphone and stuff like that, whereas the other guys are like, hey, I'm here in my Audi, and you're like, ooh, an Audi? that sounds nice. Do you drive an Audi? And they're like, no, I don't drive an Audi. I just have $5 million in my retirement fund. And you're like, exactly, loser. You should have bought into this cool company called Ponzi Industries. It can't go wrong, dude. It's a reverse funnel. Anyway. But yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of stuff in the gaming space. So I really do, like, you know, as we're doing more and more collaborations, I really do rely a lot on, you know, the viewers like you, to say things like, hey, you should do collaborations with, like, this person. If they're down for it as well, because it's not a one-way street, right? But if they're down for it as well, I think you guys would have a great chemistry and could be a lot of fun. So thank you for that. Now, people have been saying it about Sips for, like, years. So we finally, it's not really like we finally got around to it, as I've said many times recently, you know. It's more that I've become more open to doing collaborations and trying to experiment more with the content to keep it fresh. So no promises that I would get to every name on the list, but I think it's been nice. It's been fun. And it was really fun yesterday in particular. So I am going to blow up this donation machine. For being honest, that's what it's there for. I'm not incredibly stoked about our HP, and this is the final floor before things get real. I think we're gonna take our time on this floor, as long as we got time. I was checking. I'm slightly pinched today because I mean, to be honest, like, the backlog for every series is getting mighty low. And it's a product of, like, not having a lot of time to work, is what it comes down to. And that's a product of baby stuff, you know, and also maintaining, like, a good domestic environment at home. I'm not complaining. I'm rather just, you know, I'm sort of letting it happen. Like, I'm embracing the fact that working less is actually a good thing. I have like a real, I don't know if I call it a complex, but I think I'm learning to acknowledge the fact that as you get older, your life changes. And I have like almost a, let's call it a complex for lack of a better word, but I have almost a complex about being outworked. The idea that like, you know, yeah, I might not be like the biggest channel on YouTube, but nobody else is going to put out like more videos than me for as long as a period as I've done it. You know, there are people who will be like, you know, they'll put out 10 videos a day, but they burn out in like, you know, 6 months. I know very, very few YouTube channels have maintained the level of output that I've had while also straddling the Twitch ecosystem, while also, you know, publishing videos and not missing like literally a single day in forever. And I honestly, like, I think it's good and I think it's also bad. It is, to some extent, to hear, like, the younger generation on Twitch and YouTube talk about working a lot. I don't want to glorify it, to be clear. But it is kind of, like, gratifying, to some extent. Because for years, whenever I was like, I worked like a 40-hour week, people are like, you should practice some self-care and quit your job forever. And I'm like, I don't know if that's self-care. I feel like temporarily I might be like, it's nice to have free time, but very soon after that I would be like, I can't provide for myself anymore. What? It's nothing? It was 3 flies. But at the same time, I'm also, so like when I see other people that are like, you know, maybe they're publishing, well, streaming is a better example. They'll, like Hassan when we were doing Among Us was like, you know, right now I stream like 10 to 12 hours a day. It almost like triggers something in my brain that is like, I should be doing that because like that's more work than I'm doing right now. Then you know, you got to acknowledge a couple of things. One is, I mean, I don't think I'm much older than Hassan, but either way, you know, I'm at a different point in my life. I got a baby. Baby's a big priority. Do I actually want to be the guy who streams 10 hours a day just to be like I'm streaming 10 hours a day? Or would I be better off, and I'm not saying he's doing it wrong, because obviously it's working out amazingly for him, but, or am I better off, you know, leveraging the fact that I have, like, a really healthy, good audience that, if anything, would prefer that I take more time off, and have a healthier work-life balance, you know? Like, I'm just getting used to the fact, like, hey, I'm getting up there, starting to get up there at least a little bit. I'm at the age where professional athletes start to slow down, and in many ways, streaming is kind of like being like a professional basketball player and like an NFL linebacker at the same time. Like it's and while also being like a Ken Jennings style like super Jeopardy champion, basically. It's really hard. It's really complicated. You deserve like more credit than we get, for sure. Just kidding, but you know. This is a very roundabout way of saying that, like, I recognize that deep within me there is a problem, really more than anything else. There's a problem, and that problem is that when I see someone working harder than me, I'm like, I gotta catch up, and I'm slowly letting my foot step down on the brake a little bit more to be like, actually, that's dumb. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but I wanted the spirit hearts from this, which is not what these give us. Mom's wig is probably better there, I would say. However, I didn't even think about the fact that, you know, because we're at such a low rate of fire, which I guess is actually a high rate if you want to get technical, but every subsequent rate of fire is worth proportionally more, I suppose. So I'm not actually upset by this. We are a little bit perturbed by a lack of HP. It's not a pressing concern just yet, but it is not very far off from being genuinely pretty dangerous. I think we're gonna leave, but we're also like acknowledging that we're not actually doing that well on HP, which makes sense because we've gotten 1 HP upgrade over the course of the entire game. But that library actually stands... First off, we have a bone heart, which is worth a ton. But secondarily, that library stands a very good chance, in my opinion, to leave us way ahead of the curve. Just got to make sure, like stay fresh, stay frosty here. Don't throw any HP away on stupid stuff. because every single hint of HP matters. I don't necessarily, like, I'm not going to run the mathematical proof here. I'm pretty sure that we can't get to the library without getting to the boss fight. Like, I think they, looking at the map, I think they are very likely, if not guaranteed, to be adjacent to one another. That's a terrible tinted rock, but pardon me, life goes on. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of like, it's not a bad thing. That's where I've been at. Which is good, again. Like, you will probably notice in the coming weeks, especially as we approach the new year, I don't even think you will notice a slowing down on YouTube. What I think you will notice is that there will be less content specifically, that's unfortunate there, but less content specifically made bespoke for YouTube, but much more content coming over from Twitch, and also, hopefully, the kind of content that makes up for maybe a little, like, it might be a little less frequent, but still multiple times daily. But it should be a lot more interesting, and also consistent, you know? That's my hope for right now. But we'll see how it goes. It's still not, you know, I haven't implemented it yet. Still got a couple of kinks to work out. We're starting it up in the first week of January. You knew it was coming. As soon as I made that dodge, I was like, this is bad, but, you know, I'll consider it acceptable if we get a Spirit Heart out of it, which we did. 100% chance of a deal with the devil. Very scary room here. Never mind, it's totally fine. I would love to just see HP. Like, I know it's not the coolest upgrade. I would love to just pick up some HP here, though. Also, can we talk about the fact, like, what a weird run that we were, like, we didn't take Mom's Knife, and I deserve exactly 0 credit for it. Mom's Knife was actually, like, the completely wrong option for us to take. Very, very interesting, very exciting. And I gotta tell you, I have made a mistake on this run. I think it's like, if we were talking about it in, like, chess.com verbiage, I think it's like a genius level move to understand where we went wrong. But oh my god. I really think we should have held the D4 instead of the blue candle. If we're not going to use the D4, if our plan is that we're not going to use the D4, why would we rather have that than one of the best spacebar items in the game? Well, our offense is way better than blue candle. So there's that. By the way, we are hoping that there's like a judgment inside of this arcade here. But really, like, D4 is kind of like, it's a get out of jail free card. If the run's going sideways, if you get down to 1 HP, you can panic mash the spacebar, and you'll probably end up on a much safer run as a result. I don't know if we probably knocked it out of the way, but that's fine. So I really think we should have stuck with the D4. We didn't. Life goes on, and we're gonna. It's kind of like it's not really a rush down, but definitely times are kind of tight here on HP. We're gonna have to play very well. Even that, if that gives us 1 floor of gas, we're like unbelievably happy. If it gives us 1.5 floors of gas, we're gonna like lose our minds. Okay, so I can't really parse what's happening. Like, I'm playing by inference. just trying to guess where the shots were, but mission kind of accomplished. Let's hydrate here. It's one of those runs, like, right now, it looks very nice. But it is legitimately, you know, merely about 2 hits away from being much more anxiety-inducing. But I will say, I feel really sharp, actually. And I usually tell you, like, I'll say something like, I don't feel like I'm seeing the board that well today. Happens in chess now and then. You know, you just... Sometimes you're sharp and you're quick, and you're like, if he does this, I'm gonna do this. And sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't realize he could just take my queen, you know? Just, you know, weird brain stuff, you know? Some days you feel like you're at peak condition, and some days you're like, I'm feeling a little sluggish today for whatever reason. I feel right now, let's not call it peak condition, because I feel like that is inviting a great sense of schadenfreude. You know, if things go, that's very good, by the way. A good sense of schadenfreude if things go terribly wrong. But for now, I do feel like I'm playing pretty well. So I wanted to fight Sloth here in the hopes that it would be, I mean, a card could be good. The rune is amazing. But I was hoping it would be Gluttony and we could just pick up some HP, but we did get this Eternal Heart back here, which is worth quite a lot. Dunka? I don't know, Dunka used to be a reference to video game music. Now it's just something you say. It's just it's a gap filler. It's like the beans in a chili. I don't even want to get into that because, like, I love chili. I consume when I'm on a chili kick, because it really is like the king of meal prep foods, if that makes sense. That was not a good place to stand there, but you know, it's delicious. It keeps very well in the refrigerator. It doesn't take a lot of time to make. You know, it takes some time to prepare. Like the chopping, but it doesn't take a lot of time to make. It freezes well. If you can have it as is, you know, just the stew, or you can have it, you know, with some bread that you could fancy up to your own degree. You could bake it yourself if you wanted to. You could just have it with some tortilla chips. That'd be nice as well. Like you can really, like, it's very multifunctional, right? When I'm on a chili kick like that, I probably eat like 100 bowls a year. Right now, I'd say I probably eat like 20 bowls of chili a year. I don't even want to get into the debate, though, about, you know, do you put beans in the chili or no? Here's what I will say. I already know, like, if you're from Texas, I know in all likelihood what your answer is. Just because you are from Texas does not give you the right to be like, this is how it has to be. Because here's the thing. First off, you didn't invent chili. You know, it's like the way I understand the history of chili, at least, is that chili was kind of like a cowboy stew invented, you know, on the Great Plains back in the era of the frontier in the United States. That doesn't mean like you working an IT job in Austin gets to be the arbiter of like what the cowboys do and do not do with the chili, okay? That being said, if someone was like, sushi should have fried chicken in it all the time, despite not being Japanese but living in Vancouver, I would be like, I don't think so. It should only have mayonnaise in it at all times. But anyway, you know, like, moving on. Here's the thing that, like, I think you got to figure out where you are in life. Are you a strict structuralist, a traditionalist, if you will, or are you flavor-driven? Because here's the thing. If chili's not supposed to have beans because it never had beans when it was originally invented, or you consider them filler, then so be it, you know? You don't like beans in your chili. I like beans in my chili, so why shouldn't I have them? Like, there's no argument against it. Like, if I was to make a chili and not put in beans, I wouldn't necessarily put in, like, more meat or whatever. I would just have a thinner chili at the end of the day, which is, you know, it benefits nobody. Moreover, like, the beans are actually, like, really good for you. They're carbohydrate rich, but it's, you know, very fiber. Most of the component of that is fiber, or, you know, monounsaturated fats. Or, wait, what am I talking? I mixed up two macronutrients there. I apologize. Either way, look, I know what I'm talking about. That's all you need to know. You know, I don't need to bore you with all this science mumbo-jumbo. Just go, yes, NL, yes. Anyway, I'm just saying, why shouldn't it have beans? If you don't want it with beans, that's fine. I'm not going to make 2 batches, but... I'm just saying. It's one of those food structuralist debates that I don't really get involved with, which will make you laugh because I really do get involved in, like, pretty much every other one of them. But either way, this run, dude, I'm really proud of this run. We did what had to be done, and we did it pretty well. Didn't take an unnecessary amount of stupid damage. And we ended up saying yes to a couple of meme items that I actually think, like, really impacted the flavor of the run in a positive way. I still don't really know what's happening. Like, I definitely do sometimes go what hit me, but that's mostly because the screen is just constantly full with shots at all times. But that was a good one. I had a really good time on that one. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps us a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!